Hi, I'm Steve Fisher, and I'm at Kraft Music, and I'm going to show you the OCTAPAD SPD-30. Now make sure you check out the bundles at Kraft Music because they include everything that you need to get you going with your SPD-30. This is the OCTAPAD SPD-30. Now, I know you're used to seeing it in white, but there's a new option. It's black, and it looks great. A couple things about the SPD-30. It's probably the most universal percussion piece out there, period. It's great for a wide variety of applications. To add to an acoustic drum set, add to an electronic drum set, percussion setups, DJs, studios, schools, you name it. The OCTAPAD SPD-30 is perfect for a wide variety of applications. Some of the features include 670 sounds, and sounds from all around the world, and I mean all around the world. You'd have to go digging into some pretty serious sample libraries to find some of the sounds like that are in the SPD-30. Not only that, but the sounds are really dynamic and really expressive as well. There's also multi-effects you can add to it, as well as sound editing, and you can layer 2 sounds per pad, so you can get some really unique and creative sounds. As you can see, the OCTAPAD has 8 pads. They're velocity sensitive and they feel great. Not only that, but you'll notice there's pad light indicators around each pad as well. That's perfect for low light situations where it's dark, you don't know which pad is which, you can hit the pad. Not only that, but the pads also include our V-Drums triggering technology. So when you actually play the pads, you get smooth, even, and accurate triggering across the whole pad, not just a little sweet spot in the middle. If you look to the right on the control panel, you can see the dedicated function buttons that are there, and they're also backlit, so it's easy to see again in low light situations. Notice the very large LCD display. That gives you a lot of feedback, and not only is it great for sound editing or, for example, using the unique phrase loop function to make your own loops. You can also see what sound is assigned to each pad. That's really important because if you want to make sure you hit the right pad at the right time. You don't know if it's a gong there, maybe it's a triangle, I don't know. I can look in the display and actually see what instrument is assigned to the pad. So that's very helpful. And again, the dedicated function buttons make it very easy and simple to use. As I mentioned, there's 670 sounds in the OCTAPAD SPD-30. Among those sounds, besides great drum and percussion sounds and the world percussion sounds, you've got synthesizer sounds. You've got mallet percussion sounds like vibes and marimba. You've got sound effects. You've got chords. You've got pianos. You've got such a wide variety of sounds. And then on top of that, again, adding either digital effects and also the sound editing and layering sounds, you can come up with some really very unique sounds. On the back panel of the SPD-30, there's a lot of connectivity. There's USB connectivity, USB MIDI, USB memory. There's your audio outs plus your headphone out. There's a foot switch function, there's MIDI in and out, and there's 4 dual trigger inputs with a hi-hat control input. That's where the expandability comes in, and that's where you can get really creative with a lot of different unique setups, whether it's with your acoustic drums, electronic drums, small drum kit. I'm going to show you just some of those examples now. Here's a great application I was talking about, which is using the SPD-30 in conjunction with your acoustic drum set. Now I mentioned there's 4 dual trigger inputs on the back of the SPD-30. That allows me to do is configure the SPD-30 in a variety of different applications, like this one with my acoustic drum set. I'm using our RT series acoustic drum triggers. Now for the snare, I'm using the RT10S, and it's a dual trigger snare trigger. So I can trigger the snare head and the snare rim and have 2 separate sounds, and they're very isolated. Take a listen. Therefore giving me 2 different sounds on the snare. The tom triggers are the RT10T tom triggers. They're a single trigger tom trigger. They clamp right on. Same thing with the bass drum. I actually have my RT10K. It's made especially for your bass drum. Now the great thing about the Roland RT series drum triggers is that not only are they made for acoustic drums, but they incorporate the V-Drums technology in them. It has the foam triggering cone that's there, and what happens is it's taking up a very small footprint, but it's always riding on the head, so it's always being very sensitive to everything that you're playing. There's no tape, there's no glue, nothing like that. You just literally clamp it right onto the drum. Now there's an adjustable piston that's there for the foam triggering cone, so you can adjust, for example, the depth of your bass drum. That the shell rim might be a little bit deeper or a little bit thinner, and you can adjust the piston throw for the actual drum trigger. But they work great, and the best thing about them is they're made to go with the Roland percussion sound modules like the SPD-30. You simply have to change the trigger settings to RT10S, RT10T, RT10K, or whatever pads you're plugging in, and it's that simple and it works great. Now in these next playing examples, you're going to hear the acoustic drums via the overhead mics that I've got here, but it's also going to be blending with the direct sound of the SPD-30, and obviously I'm triggering the SPD-30 with my acoustic drum triggers. And it makes a big difference. One of the things you can do from a playing standpoint, whether it's recording or live playing, is actually just use the direct sound of the SPD-30, or you can blend the acoustic drum sound with the sound of the sound module. Here's the acoustic drum set without the SPD-30 sounds. Now here's with the SPD-30 sounds. Makes a big difference. And every song you play, you can change kits and have a completely different sound. Here's another great setup idea. I've got my SPD-30 over here. I'm triggering my acoustic kick drum and my acoustic snare drum with my acoustic drum triggers. But instead of triggering my 2 acoustic toms, I actually have 2 electronic drum pads over here. They're actually my PDX6s. They're great. They're the mesh heads, small, compact. I can put it right over my floor tom. The other cool thing is that they're dual trigger. So I actually, instead of having the 2 pads, I really have 4 sounds I'm able to trigger. Makes it very compact, very easy, and you can do a lot of damage with a setup like this. As you can see in here, adding an OCTAPAD SPD-30 with acoustic drum triggers and a couple of electronic drum pads takes your acoustic drum set to that next level, making it a hybrid kit. Don't know how to get started? It's easy. The guys at Kraft Music have bundles ready to go. Need something more custom? Give them a call. Either way, you'll be amazed at the sonic capabilities of your new hybrid kit. One of the unique functions in the SPD-30 is the phrase loop function. That's really a lot of fun, and it's very creative because you get to make up your own loops that you can use. Check it out. this setup, I'm taking full advantage of the 4 dual trigger inputs plus the hi-hat control input. I've got my dual trigger ride cymbal, dual trigger snare, my KD9, a CY5 for the hi-hat, and the FD8 hi-hat control pedal. Makes a great little compact kit for live playing, recording, you name it. It's awesome. Take a listen. As you can see in here, the SPD-30 is an awesome instrument and it's great for a wide variety of applications. I'm sure you can imagine a few you can use the SPD-30 for yourself. It's great as a standalone piece. You can use it as a small drum set. You can add it to an acoustic drum set, an electronic drum set, a percussion setup, DJ setup, studio. It just goes on and on and on. One last thing I'd like to mention is the optional PDS-10 stand. And you can get that through some of the bundles at Kraft Music because they've got everything you need to get you going with your brand new SPD-30. I'm Steve Fisher, this is the OCTAPAD SPD-30, and thanks for joining us.